A man was shot and killed Friday after firing at police in a suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina, during a child custody exchange, authorities said. 2 Mint Hill police officers were also wounded in the shooting, Mint Hill police said in a statement on social media. Mint Hill officers were called to the exchange at an edible arrangement store around 10:45 a.m. Friday. Authorities said the man pulled out a gun and started shooting, and officers fired back. Police say he died in the exchange of gunfire. Employees at Empire Pizza nearby were on a smoke break and saw 2 officers go inside the store, then saw one of them leading the other outside with blood on their hands and face, manager Kevin Famey told reporters at the scene. Police initially said the officers were in critical condition and a few hours later updated their conditions to stable. They said more information about the shooting will be released later. Crime scene technicians were seen on television footage taking photos inside the store and examining evidence outside. Mint Hill is a suburb of about 27,000 people, about 12 miles or 19 kilometers east of Charlotte.
ICE is at the center of yet another storm in the United States. After federal immigration agents opened fire at a moving vehicle, the Department of Homeland Security justified the action. DHS said ICE agents had attempted to arrest 2 men from Portugal and El Salvador living illegally in the U.S. "Van tried to crush us. 2 people injured in ICE's shocking gunfire," it said. Gunfire shook the streets of Glen Burnie in Maryland in the United States on Christmas Eve. This after Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents opened fire on a moving vehicle, resulting in the injury of 2 people. The shooting unfolded at about 10:51 a.m. Wednesday, while agents from ICE enforcement and removal operations were conducting a detail in Glen Burnie, just outside of Baltimore. Anne Arundel County Police said when the agents approached a white van, the driver refused to shut off the engine and suddenly accelerated, trying to run officers down. Seconds later, gunfire erupted, shattering the morning calm. According to police, 1 person in the van was shot and is in the hospital in stable condition, and the second person, who was outside of the van, suffered minor injuries and was also taken to the hospital. The FBI has now taken the command to investigate the incident. The Department of Homeland Security has now stepped in, defending the agents' actions. DHS says the driver was Tiago Alexandre Sousa Martins, an illegal immigrant from Portugal, who allegedly weaponized his vehicle, ramming ICE cars and then driving straight at agents. Fearing for their lives, agents opened fire, striking the driver, who later crashed the van between 2 buildings, injuring his passenger. DHS insists the officers rendered medical aid immediately and says both men are expected to recover.
At about 10:51 this morning, Anne Arundel officers responded to the 500 block of West Court in Glen Burnie, right here behind me, for a shooting involving ICE ERO agents. Based on the preliminary information that we received, it indicates that ICE agents were conducting a detail. They approached a white van. That van attempted to run agents over. Then ICE agents fired at that vehicle. That vehicle accelerated, coming to rest behind me in a wooded area behind these homes. There was an individual in that vehicle that was struck by gunfire. That individual was transported to an area hospital with what is being described, he's being described as being in stable condition. There was another individual outside of that vehicle that sustained minor injuries and also went to an area hospital.
The shooting follows a similar incident in Minnesota on Sunday, when ICE agents fired shots at a Cuban man who also resisted arrest and attempted to ram ICE vehicles. The growing number of violent encounters between federal agents and illegal immigrants is now becoming a boiling political and security flashpoint across the United States. With immigration enforcement expanding, America's streets are increasingly becoming new front lines.
Miss, pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Pull your pants, come out of the bathroom.
A workplace raid, a locked women's restroom, and a command caught on camera. Pull up your pants and come out. This is not a movie scene. This is New York State, September 4. Federal immigration agents forced their way into a women's bathroom during a workplace raid at Nutrition Bar Confectioners, a granola and nutrition bar manufacturing plant in Cato, Cayuga County. The incident, captured on body-worn camera footage, now part of a federal court case. Agents are seen moving through the factory floor, directing workers into hallways before attempting to open a locked women's restroom door. When it didn't open, agents forced entry.
Pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom.
Under the Trump administration, immigration enforcement has gone into overdrive. ICE and Customs and Border Protection, both under the Department of Homeland Security, have been leading what the White House calls mass deportation enforcement. Critics, however, say aggressive tactics are crossing constitutional lines, raising alarms about due process, privacy, and Fourth Amendment protections. This raid is now at the center of that debate. According to government documents, 57 workers were detained during the operation. Authorities say the factory was under investigation for allegedly employing workers without legal authorization and using fraudulent immigration documents, along with possible financial irregularities. The raid involved multiple agencies: HSI Syracuse, Border Patrol, Enforcement and Removal Operations, and the IRS. Lawyers for detainees say the operation swept up workers with varying immigration statuses, including at least one individual with a valid work permit, who they say was deported anyway. Federal officials dispute that claim and insist the operation was lawful. One detainee's case has now changed everything. Argentina Juarez Lopez, represented by attorney Paul Tuck, says agents blocked exits from a break room for nearly an hour while armed. She was questioned for just 9 seconds. She asked for a lawyer. She was handcuffed before being taken to the Oswego Border Patrol facility. The footage was released as part of Juarez Lopez's legal push to suppress evidence, with her lawyers arguing that agents expanded what were meant to be limited warrants into a sweeping dragnet. The video shows panic spreading across the factory floor as agents fan through the plant, corralling workers into a break room. For some of those detained, attorneys say, these moments marked their final hours of freedom in the United States. Argentina Juarez Lopez's lawyer submitted the body cam footage to U.S. District Judge Brenda Sands, arguing the raid violated the Fourth Amendment, which protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. Last week, the judge agreed. Judge Sands ruled that Juarez Lopez's constitutional rights were violated when agents entered the facility, a protection that applies to everyone in the U.S., citizens and non-citizens alike. The government maintains a different version. They say the operation was launched after allegations surfaced that the company employed individuals without legal authorization, used fraudulent immigration documents, and potentially engaged in financial irregularities. Acting U.S. Attorney John Sarcone III says all 57 detainees were unlawfully present in the United States. By September 9th, 52 had already been deported. 5, including Juarez Lopez, were charged with illegal re-entry after prior removal. The case has sparked criticism from immigration advocates and legal experts who question whether some of the agents' actions. As legal battles continue, this case raises serious questions about immigration enforcement practices, workers' rights, and constitutional protections, even in routine workplace raids.